Hi, this is Sharon Weinstein, and I'm delighted to present to you today part 3 of our 3-part series. You'll recall that there were 5 F's, and we covered them, first 2, then the next 2, and the subject that we'll be covering today is fun, because it's really important, especially during a pandemic, especially during these trying times, that we take the time to have fun. So let me get started by sharing my screen. Let's look at the whole concept of maintaining connections at a distance, where we were and where we are now. So first of all, those 5 F's. You'll recall that in session 1, we talked about fear and family. We talked in session 2 about frustration and the future. And today we're really going to have a good time with some great examples that I can give you that you'll be able to share with your family, with your loved ones, and with those from whom you've been apart. So this is Dr. Patch Adams. Dr. Patch Adams, when he was a medical student, realized the importance of having fun. As a pediatrician, he wanted to bring joy into the faces of young children who were sick, perhaps his surgical patients. He wanted to make them laugh. He wanted to make them smile. He wanted to make them feel good through humor. And that's really what this is all about. So I'm asking you to think about what you enjoy. Is it during this time the hand that comes to the window, and although they cannot touch you or come close, you know that someone is there, someone who cares for you? Is it the waves on a screen, whether it's an iPad or a Kindle or some other type of a device, a computer screen? What do you miss? Is it the collegiality of those gatherings that you used to be able to have at Goodwin House that you can perhaps no longer have? Is it the ability to go out for a walk with your caregiver and see others along the way? We all enjoy many things in life, and many of those things have temporarily come to a close. Think about what makes you smile. Is it the ability to be with a young child because they always spread joy? Is it the ability to listen to music, even within your own setting, within your own room or your own suite? Is it, like for me, a grandson who sings spontaneously on the streets of Chicago, and it doesn't matter what gets him going, but he gets going strong?
Oh, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence lately. Oh, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence lately.
Remember the next part? Oh, Cecilia, I'm down on my knees. I'm begging you, please, to come home. Home, home, home.
No.
Watching that brings a smile to my face. I hope that it brought one to yours. Maybe it's a pet that makes you smile. A small one or a bigger one. Maybe it's the flowers out on the lawn or out on the grounds, or a scene that you remember from your childhood that makes you smile. Maybe it's that fishing trip where your son or son-in-law and grandson or nephew actually caught a few that they then cleaned and cooked for you. And maybe it's just the sunrise or the sunset at the end or the beginning of a day. Family members bring us joy. They make us happy even when we cannot see, touch, and feel them. We know that they are there, and we know that they care. Family has sometimes what we call COVID fatigue. Perhaps your caregivers have it. Perhaps family members have it. You can be sure that even those who are pregnant and due very soon have some level of fatigue. They've been cooped up, some for 6 to 7 to 8 months at a time. Things have changed, and we need to adjust to those changes no matter who we are and what we do, knowing that we are all impacted by the differences in our environment, in our setting, and the fear of that unknown. So who will call you? Who will email you or FaceTime you or let you know that they are near? If you have no family close to you, is there someone at a distance who can connect with you and send you that message, the message that is most needed? Is there someone to whom you can write or who will take the time to write a letter to you? We all feel lonely, we all feel sad, and we all need and pray for connectivity. Staff and residents are important as well. Those are our relationships. Those are the people who care for us, even in COVID. They care very much, even though they're not allowed to do some of the things that perhaps they used to do without thinking a thing of it. But now there's a mask that's often separating you, and things again have changed. The relationships are still strong. It doesn't mean that they don't care. They care about you. They care about your loved ones. They want you to be and do well. What about those little virtual visitors? You can be sure that anybody age 6 and up knows how to navigate a screen of some kind. Maybe it's a phone they borrowed from a parent. Maybe it's an iPad or a laptop, but whatever it is, just to see those smiling faces across a screen often makes each and every one of us smile. Those kinds of things make us feel great, make us remember when we were close and when we were able to truly connect. But virtual is better than not at all, isn't it? It's better to see someone at a distance than to not see someone at all. What matters most? What matters most, in my opinion, is the concept of together we will succeed. We may be separated now, but it's not forever. We may be separated because of social and physical distancing, and we call this the new norm. In talking to some of my colleagues, I realized that some of them think that it may be this way for the next 6 months, the next year, or even 2 years, maybe until there's a vaccine, maybe until there's treatment that can handle the level of this pandemic. But the important thing is to remember that we will succeed. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but your colleagues, your support system, your family, your team will be there for you. And together we will overcome this. When we look at health and residents and their families, we understand and appreciate those 5 F's. We understand that we all have fears. We understand that even those with remote families want them near and dear and want to stay in connection, want to communicate. We understand the frustration that this has brought to us, and we understand that our future remains unknown. But we also know that we should and could have fun. Even in the spirit of absences, even when people are blowing kisses across windows or waving across a screen, we can blow that kiss and we can feel close. We know that we miss those activities in which we did a sing-along in a community room or a dance exercise or just plain physical exercise. We know that we now have masks that separated us, but it doesn't mean that we're apart. We know that sometimes we feel alone and we shed a tear because of that loneliness, because we don't have what we were accustomed to, and times have changed and it is different. And a lot of this makes us feel anxious. You can be sure that maybe your caregivers are also tired and anxious. Maybe your loved ones are. Think about those people who have no home, who now have nowhere to go, and who also suffer. Perhaps there's not enough food on the table. Think about all the things for which you are grateful. Enter them into the gratitude journal that we talked about. Even though anxiety seems to be an everyday thing, it is not forever, and it is time for fun. How? What about the kids on the playground? What about the TV shows you used to watch as a young adult or as a child? Funny how June always looked dressed to the nines. She always had on a dress and heels, even when she was cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner, or doing the laundry. And then there's Lucy Arnaz. Didn't she have fun stomping on those grapes and having a good old time? Think about the fact that when you were younger, you didn't have cable TV. Maybe you had a choice of 3 channels and you had to decide how to watch them. And maybe if you have family, they ask you, well, how did you make that tough decision? When today, I might have 100 choices between Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime and everything else. Be the reason someone smiles today. I'm sure that just thinking of some of these memories brings a smile to your face. What works for you? Today, we focus on fun. If you take out a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, please write down what you enjoy most. Is it watching those old movies? Is it doing? virtual technology, perhaps interactions with your family and friends. Is it opening mail that's a handwritten letter that someone sends to you and makes you feel really great about who you are and what you've done, the impact that you've had on that person's life? Is it glancing through the photos that are in your room and remembering the good times that you've had? What works for you? You can distance, and yes, you can still have fun. You can still do puzzles. You can still meet via a screen. And while 3 of these photos show people up close and personal, we've transformed all of that into a totally different experience. The experience may have changed from a standpoint of being close, being up close and personal, but you can and should still have fun. We'll talk about how. So how can we have fun? I ask you to share this with me. One of my colleagues introduced me to caribou.com. I call it something for everyone. While the video we're about to watch is specifically for grandparents, there are programs for teens and tweens and young adults and others. Enjoy.
Caribou. Get it on your app store today.
So why Caribou? What's the advantage of Caribou? Let me tell you a little bit about it because, like I said, Caribou has something for everyone. First of all, lots of interaction and fun with a grandchild, reading with a niece or a nephew, coloring and games. What about being the tooth fairy remotely? The best app for video calling with young ones. A virtual play date with tic-tac-toe, create a character, drawing, name an animal, Play-Doh, arts and crafts, reading via a video call. Get started at no charge, and guess what? There is no charge to your family members either. You can read and you can play together, and they have thousands of popular titles. Certainly one of them will resonate with you. So how can we have fun? We can also join Facebook groups. Facebook is free, and there are groups that have been in place way before this pandemic. For example, long distance grandparents. These are folks who do or do not have grandchildren, but want to connect with others remotely. So it is an opportunity to be a part of that process. And remember, they started way before COVID. What else can we do? What about those timeless games that you played with your own kids if you had children, or that you played as a child yourself? A tea party. Wouldn't it be fun to have a remote virtual tea party? A scavenger hunt. List 3 to 5 things that you'd like to look for within your own setting and that your partner could look for across the screen. See who wins. Make sure that there's a prize for the winner. Hide and go seek. A timeless game. Remember jacks? Remember marbles? Remember Simon Says? And the fun that you have when Simon didn't say something and you do it anyway and you're out of the game? That would be a fun thing to do remotely. And then what about bingo? Bingo always works. Bingo is an opportunity to use not only words, but also pictures or faces, and then connect. And all you really need are pennies or pebbles or something to cover the spots on your custom bingo card. We can have fun playing Kid Pillar. The link is here, and you'll have all of these links in a special handout on the page that I share with you. So while I have things here that are mainly for what to do with a kid when you're playing Would You Rather, there are pages for tweens and teens and adults and seniors and everyone. Have you ever played Would You Rather? Let me give you an example. Would you rather live in a treehouse or an igloo? Would you rather have a pet robot or a dragon? Have purple hair, green hair, or just be happy to have hair on your head? Be a wizard or a superhero? Fly a kite or sail a boat? Play in the rain or snow? You're getting the point. Let me share a few more. Would you rather be kind or smart? Would you rather play with your friends in the park or play a video game? Would you rather live in the clouds or under the water? Would you rather have purple skin or a blue tongue? Would you rather be quiet or sit still for an hour? Would you rather be too hot or maybe too cold? Would you rather fly in space or swim in the ocean? Would you rather have wings or a mermaid tail? Would you rather never listen to music or never watch TV? Would you rather be super strong or super fast? And finally, would you rather have many friends or many toys? Just know that there are over 100 questions for each category. And just by playing Would You Rather with kids, with nieces, nephews, grandchildren, with a neighbor in the next room, even on the telephone, with a caregiver, with someone, you can and should have fun. You can make time for fun. I remember when my children were in camp and I used to send them care packages. Well, why not have someone send you a care package now? Maybe it's just some cosmetic type things or some personal care items. Maybe it's a photo album or some new photos that they've taken. You can videotape one another. You can play remote play dates or schedule those remote play dates. You can play high and low. How do you play? On the phone. What's the best and the worst part of your day? You can be sure that if there's a child involved and they were involved in homeschooling or virtual schooling, they're going to tell you. Maybe they had a bad connection. Maybe the teacher wasn't nice to them. Maybe they didn't have a chance to interact. Think about the stories that you knew from when you were a kid. Think about the stories that you can share with others. What was it like when you were a child and you didn't have those TV channels, when perhaps you had a party line on your telephone, meaning that you picked up the phone and there was someone on the line who was not a member of your family? How do you explain that to a young person today? Think about the ways in which you can have fun, and let's just go do it. There are so many ways and there are so many options. There are so many things that we can do. I want to recap with you. I want you to think about what you enjoy, what makes you smile, what makes you laugh. I want you to think about the great relationships that you have now with virtual visitors and with your family members and with your team. I'd like you to think about what matters most. Yes, we know that absences, activities, loneliness, anxiety are all problems, but we also know that we can and should, we must have fun. There are so many ways in which those of you at Goodwin House can meet and greet one another virtually, across a phone, across a computer screen, somewhere within that facility. There are so many ways in which you can stay connected to your family and to those who are at a distance. There are so many ways in which you can create time to have fun if you think really hard and strong about what makes you smile, what makes you happy, and what will bring joy to your face and to your spirit. This is a hard time for each of us. The opportunity to share with those of you at Goodwin House has been a personal and professional privilege for me. I've really enjoyed it. I look forward to sharing with you the 3 recordings, the handouts, and especially the handout about how to have fun. There will be links, there will be ideas, there will be lots of opportunity for you to use those ideas to create your own fun, to have a good time even though you're somewhat confined. I want to wish each and every one of you well, and thank you again for allowing me to enter your space today and over the past few weeks. Please know that I'm available should you have any questions, if you want to chat, if you'd like to bring me back to your facility for another session, please just let your colleagues know. I'm happy to work with you and to do what I can to ease the burden of the pandemic and to make things right for each and every one of you. Stay safe now, the rest of the day, and certainly the rest of your lives. Take care.